gentlemen, you're watching NDTV. Earlier this year, when the monsoon session of the parliament began just after the Lok Sabha elections, opposition MPs led by the Congress party had doubled down on their allegations that the BJP was trying to undermine the Indian constitution. Now, from the role of governors to the alleged misuse of investigating agencies to the welfare of the SC, ST, OBC communities, opposition had raised all of these issues, centering its campaign on its ability to protect the Indian constitution. India bloc parties felt the momentum was on their side as the BJP was reduced to 240 seats, a victory for the Saffron party, but in many views, a muted one. Cut to the ongoing winter session of the parliament, it is the constitution that is making waves again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, in fact, said yesterday that the constitution remains a guiding light for his government and he has only worked within the framework of the Indian constitution. Now, in a joint sitting of the parliament, he also showcased a mega celebration of the Indian constitution. He did not speak there, but he was present there even as President Draupadi Murmu led this event. Now, this parliament session, Rajya Sabha 2, will debate the Indian constitution, its values and implementation for 2 days. Now, this was something the opposition parties had wanted. This comes close on the heels of the remarkable victories registered by the BJP both in the state of Haryana and also in Maharashtra. Meanwhile, addressing the Congress party's Samvidhan Rakshak Abhiyan event on Wednesday, Congress leader Rahul Gandhi held a copy of the constitution and he said that the entire Indian system in the country was skewed against Dalits, backwards and tribals, and that a caste census was must to change that. Well, the constitution of the country has been used politically to socially mobilize people for their empowerment, but have opposition parties taken the battle too far? People in Haryana and Maharashtra have rejected opposition's allegations that efforts are underway to undermine the Indian constitution. Should the Congress party re-strategize now? To discuss all of this, we have with us Gopal Krishna Agarwal from the BJP. We have Adil Singh Boparai of the Congress party. We have Sajjan Kumar, political analyst. Thank you all of you for joining me on this broadcast. Adil, to you first. In Maharashtra and in Haryana, the BJP significantly improved its performance in reserved constituencies. It won out of 17 seats in Haryana, 8 seats. Of course, the Congress won 1 more, and nearly 75% of the reserved constituencies in Maharashtra voted for Mahayuti. Is the Congress party failing to understand aspirations of the Dalit community, even as it really, works and plays out the constitution narrative?
Well, good evening, Vasudha. Firstly, there is a huge gulf between the BJP's empty speeches and action. And I will demonstrate that in the course of my piece. Number 2, today the constitution is under threat, and I will give you specific instances. Merely because the BJP has won X state election or Y state election doesn't give them the ticket to destroy our social fabric or to dilute or whittle down our constitutional values. Now, starting with my first instance, today communal harmony in this country is under threat. We've just seen instances in Sambhal where young boys were killed in police firing. The questionable manner in which an order to survey was passed without hearing the opposition side. So these are very, very disconcerting developments. Number 2, look at the kind of crony capitalism which exists. Today, unfortunately, the BJP has become a spokesperson for one particular industrialist in this country. You have the BJP defending that industrialist, who happens to be a private person.
Okay, let me ask this question to Mr. Agarwal. Mr. Agarwal, when events like Sambhal happens, do you think that the BJP is saying that it really stands by the constitution, or when investigating agencies, those allegations of misuse happen, do you think that the BJP finds itself in the dock?
So, Vasudha, we have to understand what is our constitution. It has clearly defined that the judiciary is the guardian of our constitution, basically. The legislation makes the law, and it is ultimately the test of basic structure of the constitution, etc., is tested by the judiciary. And Congress has several times on several issues have gone to the courts and put their issues. Yesterday also on the EVM also, how much indictment the court have said about their PIL, etc. They said that what is this? When you lose elections, you say that the EVM is bad. When you win, nothing. when there was issues like Rafael and other, the Supreme Court has said, why you are narrating, taking our name to create a false narrative? Even when you talk about the welfare of the common people, women, etc., you see in the last 11 years, women reservation has been brought by us. The women, the OBC Commission, we have first time after 70 years given it this constitutional status. Then about Article 370, one state was not covered. The constitution did not have the jurisdiction on that unless the state assembly passed in. Now that first time on 26 November, Constitution Day was celebrated in Jammu and Kashmir. Who brought this 26 November as the Constitution Day? Who has worked for the Constitution? Ultimately, what is Constitution? It says that work for the weaker section, work for women, create equal opportunities, create a conducive environment.
Right.
Isolated criminal activity in
Okay,
some states.
Adil, would you like to respond to that? Because my question is...
Yes, 10 seconds. Does Congress want to say that the states where it has ruled no crime is taking place? If a criminal...
Okay, let Adil answer that. Adil, my only question to you is, has the Congress party invested a bit too much in the constitution narrative, and is it failing to give you electoral dividends anymore?
Vasudha, please give me 60 seconds of uninterrupted time. The Constitution is a set of values. These are the set of values which wed our country together. These are the set of values which we propagate, which our parliamentarians, our executive, our judiciary has to implement. Point number one. Point number two, before you went to Mr. Agarwal, I was raising the point of crony capitalism in this country. Today you have the US Department of Justice indicting the Adani Group. Why is the BJP coming to their defense? I fail to understand. Is the BJP Adani, the Adani BJP? If there are charges against the industrialist, then that industrialist has to answer to those charges.
Okay.
You don't need the
let me
government
also
to
get in
come and
Sajjan now.
defend it.
Sajjan, in this battle of narratives, who is really getting the pulse of the people right? Because, while we know that the Red Book is really powerful, it's not like everybody is talking about the Constitution every day, but constitutional morality is something that we all stand by. It's the only thing that keeps all of us equal in front of the law. But when politically used, who do you think, do you think that it also leads to some amount of fear-mongering? Do you also think that it is possible to have, say, a nation first and also equality and justice first in the same brand of politics?
Yes, Vasudha, if you go by the societal kind of resonance, bottom-up perspective, then certainly, we have seen that on the ground, people are more concerned about the mundane issues, everyday mundane issues. And they are not much worried about the constitutional narrative, not because they are not concerned, because they are more relaxed. They are settled that this is one sort of a right that is not going to be questioned, because there is a competing battle between the BJP and the opposition, primarily the Congress, to be the better claimant of the constitutional values and spirit. This is one. Second, you do see that across India, and this is not about BJP or the Congress, there is one sort of a change and a shift, and that is starting from the Northeast, and to many other parts, there have been some sort of a mainstreaming, and therefore you see that the constitutional language and the constitutional spirit and the Constitution Day, you see the images and everything is being celebrated, which was not the case when the periphery versus the mainstream was the framing of the Northeast versus the mainland. So there has been a deepening of the constitutional spirit. This is one. Two, we do see that one, Congress played the narrative during the election, but it was primarily a set of civil society activists who have been campaigning for the Save Constitution narrative, and that went against the BJP, and Congress was the beneficiary. But thereafter, people do take stock of the situation, and I think when in the Haryana and Maharashtra election, Congress tried to repeat the narrative, there was no resonance on the ground, something that is also reflected into the SC and ST seats in Maharashtra, and that was also in the Haryana. So that way, I think people are more relaxed than the political party and the civil society activists. This is one aspect. Second, if you see, Indian constitution is a living constitution, and therefore you do not see a kind of any attempt to alter it fundamentally at the emergency time. So that way people also are relaxed. So the very fact that people do not bring the constitutional narrative in their everyday concern itself is a testimony to the fact that the ground is more settled. They have a deep faith and they are not bothered. This is not something which is haunting. And that is why I think civil society may have their singular attention to the constitutional narrative, but Congress is the party which should concerned about the multiplicity of the issues, should try to diversify its attention to rather than trying to go along the civil society centric narrative, which has been the case in the last couple of years.
So that's a very interesting point. In fact, both of them should reply to this. Adil, you know, when Rahul Gandhi says that RSS is strengthening the wall standing in the path of Dalits, Adivasis, OBCs, is there also a possibility of alienating a section of voters who are marginalized, deprived, poor, but also religiously, culturally, socially Hindu? Because that's also something that your party should think of and probably, you know, also respond to Sajjan's thing. You know, in this whole pursuit of getting the civil society on your side, progressive people on your side, are you also alienating those people who probably just want practical solutions to their day-to-day problems?
Vasudha, I am really concerned today that humanity, objectivity and neutrality today seems to be in short supply. Today in the Northeast, you have a state called Manipur. There is a civil war going on in Manipur. Does the national mainstream media, the BJP and political analysts have the time, the inclination or the interest about talking of utter and complete breakdown of constitutional order? Is it not expected of the Prime Minister of this country to at least go and heal the wounds in Manipur? Is it not incumbent on the Prime Minister to visit Manipur? He has time to go to Africa and to Brazil, but he has no time for citizens of this country. And I am surprised the national media doesn't find the time to discuss something so pressing. Number one. Number two, please understand, as far as the Congress party is concerned, we are concerned with all citizens. We respect all citizens irrespective of their caste, religion and creed. We want equality for all, equality of opportunity for all. Unfortunately, the BJP has become a party of one industrialist where they're only determined to promote him.
Okay.
Who is talking about the real issues? Today, there is so much of communal strife in this country. Brothers are being made to fight against each other. There are religious fissures which are being deliberately created. Is that not a cause of concern?
Okay. Mr.
Can we
Agarwal,
grow
would you
as a
like to
country
respond
if
to that,
we
sir?
continue to fight amongst each other
Okay.
on manufactured issues which the BJP propagates? Is that fair?
Okay.
Can you
Mr.
divide and rule
Agarwal,
like
would you like
British?
to respond to this? Because, you know, the Congress spokesperson is saying that all this is just talk, but there's no show of this. This is just basically BJP not really walking the talk. It's
Maybe
just
perhaps on the
symbolic.
Manipur issue, the two enlightened gentlemen
Masudha,
can
I
comment on
will
the
just
Manipur.
mention 2-3 points, important
sir.
points. One thing is when they talk about Adani, the 4 states where these contracts have taken place, where this bribes, as stated by the US court, has been given, was ruled by Congress
Then
opposition.
investigate.
Who is not saying?
Who's stopping you?
No,
Adil,
I did not
Okay,
interrupt.
let him respond, Adil. Like, you had your time. Let
I
him
did not
respond.
respond. I did not interrupt.
Okay, let him respond, Adil,
Register
please.
a case and investigate.
Okay, let him respond, please. Yes.
The thing is, it is for the Congress to answer, and Telangana itself, why they received 100 crore donation, they have
Okay,
to
Mr.
answer.
Agarwal, we are
This is
talking
the
about the Indian
political
Constitution here. Let's please stick to that. What is your response to the Congress
second
party?
important point is, I tell you that Constitution is very important to this country. We have a 98% marks on democracy in the country, and the 2% marks that is deducted, that is because of emergency. So Constitution is very important for the country, but why people are not buying Congress argument is because there is no substance in that. Constitution is secure. The third point that I want to tell you is, it is the judiciary which takes care of the basic structure of the Constitution, and we have a very vibrant judiciary. Fourth point is, when you talk what the Constitution objective is, welfare of all. If the Prime Minister Modi ji gives 4 crore houses, has he discriminated that this Muslim should not get or women should not get?
But Mr. Agarwal, let me also ask you a question here. So when the opposition talks about caste census or vacancies in SC/ST teaching posts or brings the Constitution into play, it was at least felt a few months ago that the BJP was not aggressive enough before the 2024 elections. Has there been a change in strategy, sir? Because every time there's electorally the results may be on your side, but socially the campaign that is being created, do you think that it may have an impact even in future that might really impact you, or you think that your management, or for that matter politics, welfare, will be able to override that factor?
No, but if the constitution narrative which Congress wants to try to build, etc., is nothing that it is carrying any substance in it. It's just an ecosystem, global ecosystem, where which forces, global forces or domestic forces, which do not accept what the constitution. If Prime Minister Modi ji is third time elected Prime Minister, has Congress any time shown respect to him as the elected representative of the country? He is not representing only the BJP people, he is representing the country. At the global platform, what Congress is doing, Rahul Gandhi is undermining our institution, undermining our electoral processes, etc. So when they have gone to several times to the election commission has done everything to satisfy them about the EVM. Again, when the election takes place, they want to undermine the electoral process. So who is undermining the institution?
Quick response from you before I go to Sajjan for the last one.
Country? Yeah, I'm grateful. Two short points. Number one, what the BJP used to tom about, called bulldozer justice, or should I say bulldozer injustice. State after state used to, without any notice, go around demolishing people's houses. The Supreme Court calls that a brazen affront to the rule of law. You had BJP chief ministers, BJP senior leaders using that as a from their poll pulpit, they used to tom about it. Number one. Number two, the Supreme Court said that it is important that the selection committee for the Election Commission of India should have the Chief Justice of India. What has the BJP done? It has removed the Chief Justice of India from that selection committee. So the BJP, Vasudha, BJP is in power today, they will go out of power tomorrow. The point is, India must thrive and succeed.
Okay.
The BJP
Okay,
is
let me get Sajjan. Okay, last 1 minute. Sajjan, what is it that the BJP missed about the constitution narrative in 2024 Lok Sabha elections? Because I remember a lot of them dismissing it.
Nothing substance in it.
Yes, and what is it that the Congress party is missing this time? And what is it that
we have not missed it? We have said jaagte raho. Okay. Jaagte raho about the false narrative of the Congress.
Absolutely, sir. Sajjan, what is it that the Congress is missing this time?
I think during the Lok Sabha election, BJP underestimated the strength of the civil society, and which was quite strong, which had its own presence, and they did not take it quite seriously. And civil society, the way they worked, and we have in our conversation with a lot of civil society votaries, they said that how they identified the areas, constituency, the segments of society, and then whispered, campaigned about the constitutional narrative, not only because they are just anti-BJP, because they also share the mindset that BJP is seen as a Brahmanical party. But to put something in perspective, one fact that cannot be countered, you look at some of the markers. If constitutional spirit about, the aspiration of the bottom of the pyramid, then look, the three top posts of the Republic of India, the president, vice president, and the prime minister in the last 8 to 9 years. And we had a Dalit president, now we have a tribal president, then you have a OBC vice president and the OBC prime minister. These are some of the social aspects that cannot be neglected. They are not symbolic posts. They are the top most powerful posts. Now, this is something which in a way signify the India of today,
right.
And therefore people are not afraid that be it BJP or be it Congress or any other party for that matter, they can go against the spirit of the constitution. And that is why I say that civil society narrative should not be embraced without, critical gaze by the Congress, because they are losing, to engage with the mundane issues which people are concerned on the ground. And there in the BJP team and the organizational spirit, they acquire the edge, as happened in Haryana and in Maharashtra.
Valid point. Thank you all of you for joining me on this broadcast. Opposition leaders have demanded a debate on the Indian Constitution in both houses of the Parliament, stressing that it is needed in the light of the recent developments in the country. The Rajya Sabha is likely to discuss this in the next few days. However, it remains to be seen how the BJP and the Congress party play on the politics around the Indian Constitution and also its importance to Indians.